Are you someone out there sitting in quarantine, absolutely missing the Philadelphia 76ers? Well, don't worry, ladies and gentlemen, because your boy here at Parcero Philly is on the same boat with you. It has been over a month now since we have seen the Philadelphia 76ers hit the court, and we are absolutely missing this team. Despite the wild ride that has been the Philadelphia 76ers 2019 to 2020 season, we definitely are in need of some Sixers basketball. Don't worry, guys. Today, what we're going to do, your boy Parcero Philly is going to give you a coronavirus state of the union of the Philadelphia 76ers. We're going to look at where we are at with the Philadelphia 76ers from the moment the season started to the pause of the coronavirus. We'll discuss where it is the Philadelphia 76ers were and where is this team going to go. But sit back and hang tight because you don't want to miss. Let's get this started. Yeah. That is right, guys. Welcome everyone to my channel. And real quick, guys, help your boy out. Help me out by liking this video, subscribing to this channel, hit the bell button for his notifications, as well as sharing this video and this channel to help your boy grow. And of course, Parcero Philly is a proud member of Philly Sports Network. Head on over to PSN to check out all your Philly sports needs, especially your Philadelphia need. And don't forget to catch every episode of the Duke by the River podcast, your Philadelphia podcast, brought to you by PSN. But guys, today it's not about the Union. Today is about, that's right, the Philadelphia 76ers. And I got on my AI throwback jersey here because listen, I'm missing the Sixers. I am absolutely missing the Sixers. Since this quarantine has started, all I've really been doing is watching a lot of Philly sports stuff, but especially the Philadelphia 76ers. You know, it's even to the point where I'm trying to look for some Will Chamberlain throwbacks up. Now, guys, listen, this franchise is a unique one. You know, we don't have we may not have the history of a Chicago Bulls or a Boston Celtics or a Los Angeles Lakers. What we have here in Philadelphia is a rich basketball history. You know, from North Philly to South Philly to West Philly, even Center City, basketball is prevalent throughout the city. And the fact that the Sixers haven't been able in its history to combat the love that Philadelphia has for the sport of basketball, it is a little upsetting. But the Sixers, though, in its histories have had so many good memories, so many great players, especially the players, you know, from Will Chamberlain to Dr. J, Charles Barkley, Allen Iverson, Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid, the list goes on. It's definitely something to be proud of. Now, this season, when we're looking at the Philadelphia 76ers, you have to start with last year's playoffs. Now, last year, on the first round, you guys remember, we had a little scare against the Brooklyn Nets, but we took care of business in that series, and then came the Toronto Raptors. And at that moment, if I have to be honest here, I felt very comfortable moving forward in the playoffs. You're talking about a Toronto Raptors team at the time who were chokers in the playoffs, right? Could Kawhi legitimately carry this team all the way to the promised land? And as he proved to you, they absolutely could do that. And we literally were a last-second Kawhi Leonard impossible jumper away from winning an NBA title. Again, we were a Kawhi Leonard impossible jumper away from winning an NBA title. Now, many may think that it's a little far-fetched. You're smoking the shit. But when I look at last year's run, right, and I look at how, you know, we gave the Toronto Raptors everything. We literally gave them everything they could handle. And then the Toronto Raptors went into the next round against Milwaukee, took care of business against Giannis in the Bucks, which I believe we could have done the same thing because of one thing that even this current Sixers team could do is play some defense. And I believe that the way we played defense last season, we would have done the same thing with Giannis. And of course, in the finals, the way Golden State, their players were dropping like flies, we would have won against the Golden State Warriors. And even before that, you know, you look at the previous matchups between the Sixers and the Warriors, the Sixers took it to the Warriors every single time, even in the process years. We took it to the Warriors every single time. So going into the season, we knew from the jump there was going to be no more Jimmy Butler. And we'll get to Jimmy Butler in a second, but that was the first domino to fall. And as upsetting as that was, you had to figure out how to move forward. You're not going to dwell on the fact that Jimmy Butler's not coming back. And then J.J. Redick left, and then Amir Johnson left. So you were starting to feel as if this team had a different feel to it. You saw some pieces depart from this team from last year that, again, was so close to an NBA title. So what did Elton Brand do here to try to revamp this roster and also make it better? So the one move that everyone is going to talk about when it comes to last summer's offseason was the fact that we brought in Al Horford. Now, the first thought when you sign Al Horford was, holy shit, we have Joel Embiid's only kryptonite in the Eastern Conference. The way Al Horford defended Joel Embiid since his rookie season was textbook, and that was the only guy that could legitimately stop Joel Embiid. He was on our team, and not only do we sign Joel Embiid's #1 kryptonite, but you have someone that can help mold Joel Embiid to being that leader and being that guy, right? But then you look at the contract, and Elton Brand signs Al Horford to a 4-year, $109 million deal. Now you're thinking, it's a lot of fucking money for an aging big man, right? We've seen Al Horford be productive. We've seen Al Horford contribute to playoff winning teams. So the money aspect wasn't really the first thought of mine, thinking about Al Horford going into the season. I'm thinking like, all right, Al's gonna help Joel Embiid be the best player that he could be, and also contribute in locker room and contribute scoring the ball as well. So that was the first big move. And of course, also the next big move for the Sixers in the offseason was, all right, Jimmy Butler left. Now you got Tobias Harris, who's also up for a contract as well. You got to sign him, right? So then the Sixers signed him to a 5-year, $180 million deal. That is a lot of money right there for a Tobias Harris who has shown you he can be a contributing player in the NBA. But now you're paying him as if he is one of your top 3 options on your team. Something Tobias Harris has really never done in his career. So that was another gamble yet again by Elton Brand. And then from the Jimmy Butler deal, it was a sign and trade deal with the Miami Heat. So the Miami Heat sent over Josh Richardson for Jimmy Butler. And then that would be the last piece for this lineup. So you're going into the 2019-2020 year with Ben Simmons as your point guard, Josh Richardson as your 2 guard, Tobias Harris at the 3, Al Horford at the 4, and Joel Embiid, of course, as your center. Now on paper, that was a very nice lineup there. That's a lineup that, with all going well and the Eastern Conference taking a step back with another star going over to the West, that was a lineup that could take you again through the playoffs and potentially give you a chance to win a championship. Now go on into the season. You start off the year, you look really good, you're beating teams, and the defense really was the story in the beginning of the year. It seemed as if the Sixers were creating this new style of basketball that could potentially be a championship style of basketball, a championship style of play. Playing the bully ball, and you saw how efficient this bully ball style of basketball was. Playing hard-nosed defense, creating turnovers, converting those turnovers into points. All was great until teams started to figure out, okay, maybe if we can limit our turnovers against Sixers, we will have a better chance of winning against this team, and that was the case. And once the Sixers weren't, be allowed to play this bully ball style basketball, that's really when you started seeing their weaknesses come out. Teams were starting to play this college, high school style of zone defense when the Sixers had possession of the ball. Why did they do that? Because of the fact that once the Sixers were not in quick transition play and they had to set up an offense that really struggled. The fact of the matter is, this team was not able to stretch the floor at all. When you have Joel Embiid and Al Horford, 2 guys who are centers, they are both number 5s. Ben Simmons, as great of a point guard he is, and I am one of his biggest fans, the fact that he can't shoot at that number 1 as a number 1 really is an issue. And that was clearly the issue throughout the funks of the Sixers season. Then having to rely on Josh Richardson or Tobias Harris to step up wasn't always going to work. So for as much talent that there was on the Sixers roster and in the starting lineup, there was clear weaknesses on this team. And there wasn't much depth behind the starting lineup of the Philadelphia 76ers. But the Sixers still throughout the season were finding ways to stay above 500. At home, really, the Sixers, while they were playing at the Wells Fargo Center, were an absolute different team. The Sixers are 29-2 this season in their home games. It's really good. And you can clearly tell, when they were playing in the center, they were a much more dominant team. Everything was clicking. They seem more in sync when they were playing in the center than when they were on the road. And their road record thus far this season is 10-24. It's not good, and it is not a record for a team that is trying to contend for an NBA title. Which leads me to the last month of play for the Sixers. Now, before we ended play, the Sixers suffered two major injuries, both to their big stars, in Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons. Joel Embiid suffered a sprained shoulder on February 26th against the Cleveland Cavaliers, a game in which the Sixers looked lost after he got hurt early in that game, and they would lose 94-108. It was a terrible loss to a bad Cleveland Cavs team who are clearly rebuilt. But luckily, Joel Embiid will come back March 11th, the last game before the coronavirus stoppage. Joel looked good in that game, scoring 30 points and getting 14 boards in that game. And then Ben Simmons. It seemed as if he pinched some sort of nerve in his lower back. You guys know, especially in a sport like basketball, your back is really crucial. And if you hurt your back, it can be very painful to do just daily movements. So on February 11th, he seemed to tweak that back. A couple days later, a Saturday night matchup against the Milwaukee Bucks, crucial matchup. Brett Brown decided to bring him back in, and that really hurt Ben Simmons even more. And that would sideline him for an extensive amount of time. And he still was hurt right before our coronavirus stoppage. So those two injuries really hurt the Sixers, and without the two main stars, and already a team that, seemed as if we're lacking leadership, who the hell would step up here for the Philadelphia 76ers? Well, in that time, it seems as if we found a guy that we all are going to fall in love. If you haven't fallen in love with him now, we're going to fall in love with him once play comes back. And that is Shake Milton. Now, Shake, if you guys, he's a G League guy, right? Someone who's been down in Delaware for us, a guy from SMU, and he was one of those two-way players this year and last year, and he has been getting opportunities this year, and he has been making the best of these moments. Especially when Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid go out and the team are looking for someone to step up. He took advantage of that more than anyone else. The game that stood out to everyone was the LA Clippers game on March 1st, when Shake Milton went off for 39 points in that game. Is a career high for him. I don't even think the LA Clippers expected him to step up the way he did, and he really put the LA Clippers on their toes. That was such a spectacular performance from him. And guys, if we come back and Shake Milton is the player that we think he is from what we saw, we have found ourselves another shooter that this team is desperately in need. He can even compete now with Josh Richardson at the 2, or what you can do, which is what I think needs to happen, is you need to put Tobias Harris back at the 4. Defensively, it makes more sense for him. He can shoot the ball, and he's got some length, so you can play that small ball style of basketball. I really would love to see Tobias move back over to the 4. You can put Josh Richardson or Shake Milton at the 2 or 3, and then you can keep Ben Simmons at the 1. And that right there would be a lineup, in my opinion, that could possibly take us far. I don't know about championship, but could take us far. Now, when we look essentially the first almost 5 months now of play with the Philadelphia 76ers, when you're analyzing this team deeply, to me, we're looking at a team that definitely has taken a step back from last season. That's obvious. You had a lot of turnover from last year's team. You lost some serious leaders from last year's team. But the Sixers right now are 39-22. That's good for 3rd in the Atlantic, 6th in the Eastern Conference. Now, last year, this was the 3rd place team in the East. Now, we can say that a lot of these players are playing in new roles. They still haven't been acclimated to each other. And I 100% agree with that statement right there, that it takes time to get acclimated with each other. It doesn't help the fact that, you're halfway through the season and then boom, your top 2 players get hurt and they're out for extensive amount of time. That definitely is going to hurt your team. But I think one thing that we need to look at here is we need to look at this JJ Redick, Jimmy Butler interview on JJ's podcast. I mean, if you're a Sixers fan and you haven't watched it yet, you really do need to watch this. Pretty much, I'm not going to go over through the whole interview, but the premise and the thing that stuck out to me the most about that interview was when Jimmy was talking about when he arrived to Philly and the fact that he felt like there wasn't a real leader, essentially. He didn't know who to go up to. He didn't know who to look up to. There wasn't a clear leader in that locker room. And that is a serious problem. And now thinking about what Jimmy Butler said in that interview and marinating to what he said in that interview, and I look at the Sixers season thus far, I agree with what Jimmy Butler said. There was countless moments throughout the season where I felt as if, where is the one leader on this team to snap these guys out of it? I see Joel Embiid, disappointed when things aren't going the Sixers' way, and he's pouting and he's got his head down. A leader does not do that. A leader is not going to pout and put his head down. Leaders got to lead. If Joel Embiid is walking off the court, losing by 20, and he's got his head down and he's pouting and he looks upset, what message does that give off to the rest of the squad? Ben Simmons, I don't see him being vocal enough. That's another issue right there as well. Brett Brown is, and you guys know I'm a Brett Brown guy, and I know he's a flawed man. I absolutely know he's a flawed man. He's a great developer. That is the one thing that he works well for him. He is a great developer. But when it comes down to X's and O's, and being a coach in critical moments, I have questions about Brett Brown in that aspect. Going into the season, Elton Brand's decision was that Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons were going to take that next step. So he wasn't going out there looking for another superstar to pair with Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid. He was expecting them to take the damn ring. And I really don't think they have done that thus far. But we don't know what's going to happen with the NBA season. We don't know if we're going to even have an NBA season. But if it does happen, it's still plenty of time for these two guys to step it up. Because at the end of the day, I believe that this is still a team and still a roster that can win an NBA championship. But it's going to come down to their leaders, Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons. If those guys can take a lot of weight off of this team, I think that guys like even Josh Richardson, who I still think hasn't shown us his full potential. He's dealt with injuries this season, but I think he is a weapon for us that feel better days are ahead of him. I think Tobias Harris is absolutely fantastic when the pressure's not on him as well. I think he can be the third guy. I really think he can be that third guy, but Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons have to do their job yet again. If you guys remember, there was a good month this season where I thought that Tobias is an NBA All-Star right now. With the way he is playing, he was averaging 20 points a game. I think there was 1 week where he put up 30 points in 3 straight games. And even on the bench, I think Furkan Korkmaz has shown you off the bench he's going to be fantastic. And same thing with Shake Milton. Those guys can continue playing to the level that we've seen them play this season at the highest level of their capability. I like those pieces as well. I think Mike Scott needs to step it up. I think that Alec Burks and Glenn Robinson III are going to play better as time goes on for this team. Matisse Thybulle has shown you to be a defensive engine, and again, another great piece to come off the bench for the Sixers. And Al Horford, I think that Al Horford is best suited to be coming off the bench, and I know no one wants to hear that because this is a guy who has a 4-year contract and is making $109 million. So that's not ideal for a backup center, but I think if you want the best opportunity to win, you want Al Horford to come off the bench for you. And that's just the honesty of it. It sucks the matter that he is making that much money, but you can't control that. You want to win right now. So at the end of the day, the Sixers season has been a wild roller coaster ride. I'm with you guys. I'm 100% with you guys there. But the Sixers team, in my honest opinion, has everything it takes to make a run in the playoffs. This team, however, in this quarantine time, which I hope everyone is doing right now, I hope everyone, especially Sixers, are looking deep inside themselves. I really hope the Sixers are looking deep and trying to figure out who the fuck am I, right? Especially Joel Embiid, Ben Simmons, and Brett Brown. I need those guys to dig deep. And I need those guys to come back from this quarantine and be a savage, be an absolute monster. Put this team on your back. Do whatever you need to do to win. You know, I just watched the Last Dance documentary with the story about the 97-98 Bulls, which I'm planning on doing something, a little review about that once the documentary's over. But, you know, listening to Michael in that documentary, and he literally, whatever it took to win, he was going to do it. If the Bulls were without Scottie Pippen and on a 4-game losing streak and needed a freaking W, he was going to put up 50 points to get the W. And I need Ben Simmons, I need Joel Embiid to do that. I need them to be those guys, and I need them to be unselfish as well. How bad do you want this? I tell you one thing, the city of Philadelphia, they might be in quarantine right now. I hope they're in quarantine right now. They want this bad. How bad do you want it, guys? How bad do you want it? All right, guys, that's all I got for you today. I know it's tough right now, you know, to go through quarantine. You know, it's tough to sit inside all day. I understand a lot of people are going through it, but guys, take advantage of this time. You know, try to find a way to make yourself a better person. Be productive. Start working out. Find a hobby. Find some new recipes to make. This can be a time that can suck, or this can be a time that can make you a better person. And I'm definitely taking option number 2. But guys, that is all I got for you today about the Sixers. But I want to talk about the Sixers in the comments below. Let me know what your thoughts on the season thus far is. What other Sixers content do you guys want me to make during this quarantine time? Man, I got some time. I got some time. So let me know in the comments below. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell button for notifications, and as well sharing this video and this channel to help your boy grow. Also, guys, don't forget to check out Philly Sports Network. I'll put a link in the descriptions below so you guys can check that out. All your Philly sports needs, we got you covered in Philly Sports Network. Guys, again, I go by the name of El Parcero Philly, and I'm telling you guys to always trust the process. Nos vemos. Danny on the track, boys.